for making hidden straps or strap tabs. Before we switch over to the overhead camera, I just wanted to share with you a couple of bags before I get into the demonstration, so I can share with you how you can potentially work the hidden straps or strap tabs into a project. So this is the Amethyst project bag. As per the pattern, the straps are just top stitched to the front and the back of the bag, which completely fine, but this is an opportunity to perhaps work in those hidden strap tabs by having, I don't know what else I was gonna say, by having them be hidden, I guess. This is the triple threat briefcase, and on the side of the bag, there's a little fabric tab over here, again, top stitch, but another example of an opportunity where you could work in the hidden tabs into a bag. So Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera, and before I get started with the demonstration, I'm going to show you what exactly is a hidden strap or strap tab. So in this example, this is a front of the bag. I haven't attached the other side of the strap yet, but let me flip to the back side so you can see the strap comes through an opening, and I've actually stitched it down to the bottom of what will be the front and back of the bag. You can either, there's a lot of different options for securing this. You can just top stitch it in place. You can use a rivet in one or two or both places. So I've prepared some step outs so that I can show you how exactly to get this going for your bag. So I have a PDF linked to in the description of the show. The PDF just has this handle overlay piece that you'll need to cut out first. And after cutting it out, it should look like this. So if you'll notice, I've preserved the line on the inner edge. That's really important. We don't want the opening to be too big so you can see the wrong side of your interfacing. And before the show, I prepared what will be the front of the bag. I've attached my exterior fabric to the foam interfacing. Again, the interfacing will depend on what particular project that you're working on. And so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this inner rectangle to the wrong side of a piece of fabric that I cut out, the same fabric as the exterior. I did not cut out the inner section yet, and you'll need 4 of these pieces. So 2 for the front of the bag and 2 for the back of the bag. So what I'm just going to do is take my friction pen. I'm going to lay the paper template over the fabric, and I'm just going to draw that inner rectangle. And you do the same thing for all 4 pieces of the fabric. Again, the fabric is just by itself, no interfacing. And then you'll need to decide placement for where you want the opening to be, and you'll need to replicate that placement for the right hand side of the bag as well as the back piece of the bag, so the second portion, just like this. So what I did is I just used my ruler, and I decided, well, I'd like this piece to be 2 inches down and 2 inches over, and just remember the opening is a little bit further down and to the side than the edge of the fabric. If you'd like to, before attaching this to the main body of the bag, you can either serge or zigzag. You can use seam sealant, or you can just leave it as is. That just kind of finishes the edge of the fabric. All right, so what I did here, after positioning this little handle overlay piece, I placed it right sides together with the body of the bag, and I just stitched directly on top of the line. You can see my stitches here. Especially with a small rectangle like this, you may find while you're stitching with your usual stitch length, and my usual stitch length is 2.5 millimeters, you may find that when it comes time to sew directly into the corner where the 2 lines intersect, your next stitch might kind of go slightly past the line. So what I like to do is I like to decrease my stitch length to either 1 millimeters or 1.5 millimeters, hand crank for 1 stitch to come down directly in the corner, and then turn back to my regular stitch length. So that's only if you notice that you'll either be coming up short or possibly be stitching past the line. All right, so I've stitched my line over there. Now I'm going to use my seam sealant to get a little opening started, and because the stitches are so close together on top and bottom, just be really careful when you're cutting that you're not cutting through the stitches. So I'm going to get a little opening started, and then I'm going to use my scissors to cut the rest of the way. Normally for zipper pockets, I am cutting a small V in the corners, but because the stitches are so close together, I felt more comfortable just cutting a straight line like that. Okay, so now comes the time to push that handle overlay fabric through the opening, and this is what it will look like on the wrong side of the fabric. So the sides might look a little bit bunched up, but from the front edge, it looks definitely a lot nicer. So I'm going to use my fingers to kind of roll the seam out so that the fabrics are wrong sides together. And then I'm going to use my iron to press from the wrong side of the fabric. I used a fabric glue pen, and this is by Fons and Porter. We sell these on the website in case you're interested in that. I just applied glue to the fabric, and then with a hot dry iron, set the glue in place. Okay, let me grab my next piece. All right, so there's a few options for finishing. I stitched 1/8 of an inch away from both the top edge and the bottom. If you know you'll be stitching your handle down, at least on the lower portion, you might want to wait to top stitch the lower portion. And I used a lengthened stitch length for this. So this is what the opening looks like after it's been stitched. And then you'll just need to prepare your strap. So this is a 1 inch wide strap, which fits in this opening. I just prepared my strap like I normally do, kind of like double fold bias tape. I left one end open just so I could show you exactly what I mean by that. So wrong sides together in half, and then I pressed both the lower and the upper edge in toward the center crease and pressed one more time, and the strap is top stitched 1/8 of an inch away from both of the long edges. All right, so the strap will just be inserted through the right side of the fabric. I'm going to pull it down to the bottom edge and making sure it's straight, just stitch it down 1/8 of an inch should be fine. You'll repeat the same process for the right hand side of this front portion of the bag, and let me pull the finished portion out again so that I can show you. And again, there's a few options. If you'd like to attach rivets, you can do that. If you would only like to secure the top stitching, it will still be sturdy enough just because the strap is attached along the bottom edge. So hopefully that was helpful. It gives you a few other options as far as straps or tabs on your bag, except part of them are hidden. So hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I have a giveaway at the end of the show still, and I'll